So as China embarks on its pursuit to exploit the BRICS summit, it will be keeping a close eye on the actions and engagements of one country, and that's India. We just told you why. India and China, you see, have competing visions for the BRICS expansion. So Beijing essentially wants to dilute India's influence in the body. But is that the only reason? Not really. You see, China's intentions and opposition to India goes beyond BRICS. It fears that India could surpass it as a regional powerhouse. It fears that India could become the voice of the global south. The indications are already there. India is slowly but steadily replacing China in almost every metric: economic growth, diplomacy, and most importantly, manufacturing. Let's just look at them one at a time. And if I speak of economy specifically, 2 months ago, this report came out. It said that India is set to replace China as the quote-unquote high-flying geese, meaning it was set to unlock its full potential and outpace China in terms of economic growth. And around the same time, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development released a report. This one said that in the year 2023, India would grow faster than China. The figures are on your screen now. India's growth was predicted to be 6%. China was predicted to grow 5.4%. Indonesia, 4.7%. For 2024, the predictions get even more interesting. The report says India will grow 7% next year. China and Indonesia will grow by 5.1% each. What explains this? Why is India growing faster than China, you ask? Well, according to the agency, structural reforms undertaken by the Indian policymakers in recent years, along with higher allocation towards capital expenditure, have led to this trend. A trend that will persist for years to come. So this was about the economy. Next, we come to manufacturing. India is slowly replacing China as the world's factory, thanks to its labor force and a booming internal market. Also, its democratic credentials. They are making India a magnet for investors. The first win that India scored was through Apple. The company is betting big on India, and reports say it plans to shift 18% of its iPhone production to India by the year 2025. 18%, that's a big figure. And also a clear indication that the company wants to reduce its reliance on China. And why is it doing this? Because of China's policies and frequent protests by the Chinese workers. Last year, the company witnessed chaos at Foxconn's main iPhone City complex in Zhengzhou. The plant houses nearly 300,000 workers, and most of them went on strikes, protesting the COVID-19 curbs. And this severely affected the production of iPhones and dented China's reputation as a stable manufacturing center. Not just for Apple, by the way, but for a host of companies. Have a look at this report. Porsche, the renowned luxury sports car manufacturer, is looking to manufacture the Cayenne SUV in India. This development is striking, and it could pave the way for many other car manufacturers to do the same. And at the same time, this is highly embarrassing for China. Just 2 years ago, Porsche ruled out manufacturing in China because it did not want to compromise on the quality of its cars. Clearly, it has no such inhibitions in the case of India. And then we have technology. A host of leading laptop manufacturers are scrambling to assemble products in India. Reports say as many as 44 IT hardware manufacturers, including global PC makers, have registered for manufacturing laptops, tablets, and personal computers in India. And which companies are these, you ask? According to Counterpoint Research, Lenovo, HP, Dell, Apple, and Acer were the top 5 companies in the personal computer segment in the June 2023 quarter. They all want to manufacture in India. And this is being seen as a big victory for the Make in India campaign and a big loss for a country which likes to call itself the world's factory. China. Is this why China is trying to corner India at platforms like the BRICS? This question gets even more interesting when you look at how China is performing. The economy is in the doldrums, to say the least. The GDP growth rate has slowed down. National debt is nearing the IMF red line. Youth unemployment is at a record high. And China's property giants are filing for bankruptcy protection. According to reports, China is likely to miss its growth target of 5% this year. The prediction has been made by several banking giants. JP Morgan Chase is one of them. It has further lowered its full-year forecast. China's Great Wall of Debt is also expanding. According to a new Forbes report, China's overall debt, both in the public and the private sector, has risen to a colossal $51.9 trillion. And next, we have unemployment. It is also at a record high. Reports say the urban unemployment rate for people between the ages of 16 and 24 has risen to 21.3%. This figure is so bad that Beijing has decided to not release figures anymore. I'm not making this up. Have a look at what The Guardian has said. China has suspended the release of youth unemployment figures. And then we come to the property sector. Reports say China is facing a housing market slump. Home prices have been falling for 16 months straight. Land sales, which account for 40% of all the local government revenue, also collapsed. Clearly, the China economic miracle is fading. And as it fades, China is growing more and more scared about another country taking over. For all practical purposes, Chinese experts fear that the country could be India. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.